Next bear market has to be the worst in my lifetime. As you know, we had a big problem in 2008 or so, and then central banks and governments around the world started printing and spending and borrowing money like never in recorded history. You know, the world economy has been flooded with money and spending since then. America has never gone so deeply in debt so fast as we have done in the last decade, more than a decade now, 13 years. So yes, we're all floating on a bit of artificial stimulation. It always comes to an end, no matter how much you pump into the economy. It seems to be coming to an end. Inflation is coming back, which leads to higher interest rates. And some people are starting to say, wait a minute, this is too much debt. This is absurd. Not everybody. I mean, the Japanese are still doing it. I'm not sure if the world has come to an end yet, but I do know it's going to come to an end eventually in the form of another bear market. And look out the window. Since 2009, the debt everywhere has skyrocketed. The world has never seen anything like this accumulation of increase in debt. So the next bear market has to be the worst in my lifetime. Given that the people in the Federal Reserve are not very smart people, what they will do at the first sign of some good news, and it may already be here, they will start talking about and even acting on slowing down. But eventually, they're going to print money till we run out of trees. Okay. That's what all they know. If there start to be a lot of bankruptcies or even a few bankruptcies, they will get phone calls from people saying, you must save us. They will panic and they will print more money. I don't think that in the history of the world, many central banks have said, too bad, guys, it's time for a lot of bankruptcies. Go down the tubes. That's not the way bureaucrats think. That's not the way academics think. And the end result will be not good for you and me, but it might temporarily save their jobs. In the 1970s, inflation kept getting worse and worse, and the central bankers made it worse and worse. But then the president, it was Jimmy Carter at the time, said to Paul Volcker, you do whatever you have to do, and I will support you. I mean, this will shock some people, but short-term U.S. government treasury bills went to over 21%. 21% on treasury bills, because Volcker tightened and tightened and tightened, and Carter said, okay. Well, it caused bad times, but it killed inflation. Carter lost the election, but it did kill inflation. I don't think that there's a politician in the land today who would do that or support that, and I'm not sure that many bureaucrats. I don't see this guy we have now as another Paul Volcker. I don't think we have a Paul Volcker in the U.S., and eventually they will cave in. Late 1970s, America as a nation was still a creditor nation, in which we remained until the mid-80s. So there are many different things now, as far as we are concerned, we being the United States. And our situation is much, much worse. And these guys in Washington are making it very much worse every day. Not every month, every day. I would remind you that we have periodically had recessions since the beginning of time all over the world. Janet Yellen said, who was the Secretary of the Treasury, said, no, we have figured it all out. Don't worry. We have it under control. So if you believe her, then don't worry, Washington's sorted all this out now. I happen to know she's wrong, and I happen to know that we will have recessions again in the world, and the next one has to be very bad. But as I explained, 2008 was a nightmare for many people. Since then, the debt has gone up by astonishing amounts. They're terrifying. And it's continuing to get worse every day. So the next problem has to be very, very bad. It'll be the worst in my lifetime. And I'm older than you, so it'll be the worst in your lifetime too. China will certainly continue to have problems. They will survive. I'm not giving up on China. It's not going to disappear. In 2008, they had a lot of money saved up. The world started collapsing, so they started spending. But when it started raining, the Chinese started spending the money. But now China even has a whole lot of debt. I don't see who can save us now. The world has had many reserve currencies, international mediums of exchange in history. None of them have survived. I'm delighted that the US dollar has been on top for many decades, but history would indicate that it's going to come to an end and that maybe it's time. I mean, I remember when the pound sterling lost its status. You know, in 1920s, Britain was the richest, most powerful country in the world. It was number one. There was no number two. 50 years later, 1976 to be precise, Britain was bankrupt. Literally, the IMF had to bail out Great Britain because they were bankrupt. They went from no competitor to total bankruptcy. So it has happened, it can happen, and it will happen. We've been on top a long time for economic reasons. We are the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, so there are financial reasons for people to look for something else. There are also political reasons, as you aptly point out. You know, all of a sudden, well, it's sinking in to many people that there are many reasons, and many major players in the world are looking for something to compete with the US dollar. I don't like this, Adam, but I can see it happening, and we all have to adjust to it, whether we like it or not. I don't know. Normally, I would think it would be the Chinese currency, because for many reasons, but the Chinese currency is a blocked currency. I mean, I can go online and buy the euro if I want, or the US dollar. I cannot buy and sell the Chinese currency easily. So that's not a player at the moment anyway. Maybe that will change. But by 1776, the dollar was rising strongly. It had a great play after the Second World War. But unfortunately, that play has been going on for a long time. And I don't know what it's going to be. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just telling you how the world has always worked. This is the way the world has always worked, just as from the Old Testament, they had 7 good years and 7 bad years. I mean, this has been going on a long, long, long time. Just read some history, do your own research, and then you will get knowledgeable. And if you get knowledgeable, you will get worried, because you will see this has happened many times before, and it's going to happen again, as it always has. And those who are prepared and knowledgeable will do well and survive. Some people came out of the 30s very rich. So if you're prepared, you'll do fine.